Espresso and Espionage in Yorkshire, as observed by Great Aunt Edna, OBE, Esquire, etc. I was in Yorkshire on a very serious matter. I say that with the usual disclaimer. It was a personal investigation, which means no one asked me to do it, and yet no one will thank me enough when it is solved. The details aren't relevant. Suffice to say, it involved a missing garden gnome, 2 litres of suspicious rhubarb cordial, and a parish council chairperson with shifty eyebrows. As it happens, espionage makes one peckish. So when I passed a pavement cafe offering tea served correctly, a rarity north of the Watford Gap, I sat down, and it was a seasonable day, meaning it was only spitting lightly and my hat was reinforced. I ordered tea proper, pot, no nonsense. It was only as I stirred the second sugar for morale that I became aware of something off. All the other tables were occupied by men, large men, square-jawed men, men who wore sunglasses on overcast days and gestured in ways that suggested deeply buried problems with authority. One was counting a suspicious wad of napkins. Another was aggressively eating a scone while murmuring into an earpiece. One had a pinky ring and a tattoo of the Virgin Mary wielding a cricket bat. I could hear them talking. "Hey, have you seen Joey?" "Which Joey?" "Little Joey. Not Big Joey. No, Big Joey's in Bridlington. This is Little Joey. Oh, the cheese one." My teacup paused halfway to my lips. Was I witnessing a turf war over dairy products? They had Yorkshire accents, certainly, but filtered through the lens of someone who'd binge-watched The Sopranos, I thought it counted as life advice. Then it happened. A man emerged from the cafe, espresso in one hand, a biscotti in the other. He looked at me, long coat, Italian leather shoes, eyebrows with intent, and said, with all the gravity of a man who's seen too many films, "You shouldn't sit here alone, pet. This is Joey's table." "Is it?" I said, gently placing my teaspoon down like a challenge. He nodded. "We're having a sit-down. It's about the lasagna incident." "Ah," I replied. Internal food diplomacy. How thrilling. He blinked twice. I held his gaze, raised my teacup, and took a slow, defiant sip. He turned to one of the other not Joeys and muttered something about respect and the old ways. I believe he had just been mistaken for a rival boss from another territory, perhaps Harrogate. By the time my scone arrived, they were visibly uneasy. One man called me Miss in a tone usually reserved for royalty or explosives. I nodded regally. The balance of power had shifted. I was no longer intruding on their cafe. I was the cafe. Eventually, a nervous-looking youth scuttled over and whispered, "Miss, Joey says your tea's on the house." "Tell Joey I appreciate the gesture," I said, "and to consider reducing the salt in his bolognese." I stood, adjusted my gloves, and left. The truth is, I still have no idea what they were actually doing. It could have been a cosplay club, it could have been actual organised crime, but if Yorkshire is producing mafioso, now I welcome the variety. One must keep one's enemies confused and one's tea hot, always. More Yorkshire mob encounters? For further misfiled investigations, accidental diplomacy and daring tea manoeuvres, Volume 1 of Slightly Unreliable Memoirs of Waits, 24 illustrated pages of questionable logic and highly suspect life choices, available now in our Ko-fi shop. And if you'd like a steady supply of tales just as baffling and twice as steeped, do sneak round the back entrance of our Patreon parlour. Password Biscotti. And thus concludes this round of Edna versus organised crime. I'm now fleeing to the countryside to investigate an unsolved cheese incident. Colin remains unimpressed. We recommend travelling in pairs and never underestimating a pensioner with good gloves. Until the next blend of nonsense. Robin and Co.